dedication, and perseverance displayed by our student athletes throughout this entire winter season. As we reflect on the hard work and the incredible accomplishments of our teams, one theme stood out above all others to highlight during this winter season speech: the concept of Pioneer Magic. Now, I'm not certain how many of you have ever even heard the term Pioneer Magic before. I suspect this is a phrase that used to be used a lot more in the past than it may be today. I can tell you this: whether you've heard it or not, you felt it, you lived it, you are it. This isn't the first time I've stood up in front of a large group of pioneers and spoke about the concept of Pioneer Magic. Rewind all the way back to the fall of 2010, my second year as a teacher and coach here at New Providence. That fall, at what may have been one of 5 different retirement dinners and celebrations for our legendary former football coach, Frank Patone, I decided to go up and speak about Coach during the part of an evening that was operating kind of like an open mic situation. As a 23-year-old new coach and teacher, I was terrified, not only due to my age and lack of experience, but mostly due to me being the only non-Pioneer graduate to go up and speak about Coach that night. For those who don't know, I'm a graduate of Governor Livingston High School. However, hey, we got a GL hockey team. Well, come on, we're good. However, I remember feeling compelled to get up that evening to talk about a man that taught me so much in such a short amount of time. My main message that night was about Pioneer Magic. We had just won a state championship in football, and the wins we had in the playoffs seemed so improbable that only magic could describe what happened. So what is Pioneer Magic? It's a term that's been used at New Providence High School for decades upon decades to describe the seemingly impossible things that happen around here. The wins and championships and comebacks that seem to happen against all odds, and yet somehow seem to happen on a regular basis in Pioneer Country. Coach Broder told me about the magic when I first got to New Providence. For those who don't know, Coach Broder actually taught me back in high school and actually coached me in football back at GL. But I did not believe him until I witnessed it firsthand. I caught glimpses of it that first year that I taught here in 2009. But it wasn't until those 2010 football playoffs and Coach Patone's final season that I truly believed in the magic. In the first playoff game, we fell behind Hoboken 21-0 going into halftime. After a furious comeback attempt, a blocked last quarter field goal, a Hoboken player running off the sideline to stop and impede a touchdown, a last-minute interception, a last-second penalty, and a field goal with no time on the clock, we would go on to come back and win 24-21. We'd then go on to come back from a 13-0 deficit against Verona in the semis in the next game, eventually winning in dramatic fashion as well. Finally, we won the whole thing by shutting down a Lincoln team in Giant Stadium that nobody seemed to give us a chance of slowing down. This allowed Coach Patone to end one of the most illustrious football coaching careers in New Jersey high school history with a championship victory in Giant Stadium. If that's not magic, I don't know what is. From that very moment, 15 years ago, I was completely bought into the fact that there was something very different and special about this place that we call home. Once I really noticed the magic, it was impossible not to see it all around me. Fast forward to this year, past multiple ShopRite Cups and incredible championship runs by so many of our teams and individual student athletes, past banner after banner after banner after banner being hung in the rafters of the log cabin. The magic lives on in this year's teams as well. Just look at the incredible accomplishments that each team has had thus far this season. Despite losing a multitude of star talent from the year prior, our combined ice hockey team once again staked their claim as one of the best teams in the entire state, making an improbable run all the way to the state sectional championship game, the 4th consecutive season the team has made it to that point. Our wrestling team, yeah, you can clap. Our wrestling team saw a team loaded with newcomers joining a core group of dedicated and incredibly hardworking returners. Don't let the team's record fool you. They often and usually won on the mat, night in and night out, winning more bouts than our opponents but only losing dual matches due to regularly forfeiting 4 or more of the 14 total weight classes. The team also proudly represented itself at counties, districts, regions, and states, highlighted by Braden Valley being crowned county champion, district champion, and finishing in the top 16 overall in the state of New Jersey in his weight class after 2 victories in Atlantic City. Our cheer team excelled on the floor all winter long, building on the culture of success that the team has been growing year over year. This season, the team would take first place in 4 of their 9 showcases, highlighted by being crowned grand champions at the Golden Bear Invitational. All of this allowed the team to advance and qualify to the state championship competition hosted at Brookdale Community College, where the team proudly finished as the 4th best team in the state in Group 1. In boys and girls indoor track, both teams excelled all season long. The season was one full of PRs, medals, trophies, and even multiple school records, some decades old, being smashed. Beyond that, we were proud to have multiple individual champions along the way. A special shout out goes to Sevilla Zanakis and Dan Peretti for being crowned state sectional champions in the shot put and 55-meter dash, respectively. Additionally, the girls' 4x400 meter relay team, consisting of Libby Knight, Malone Henry, Sophia Espelot, and Miranda Bornique, was crowned sectional and state champions, along with qualifying for the meet of champions. Finally, both teams excelled as a whole in competition, with the boys finishing 3rd overall in the state section and the girls taking home 2nd. Congratulations, indoor track athletes and coaches. The boys basketball team certainly had a magical conclusion to their season. After last year's conference championship, the team was thrilled to move up conference divisions this season. While this meant a more difficult schedule, it was one we wanted and relished. And while the results during the regular season may have been frustrating at times, the team stuck together, never letting their belief in one another waver. When the time came to play schools our size, they showed they were battle-tested and ready for the opportunity. As a result, the team made an absolutely improbable run as a 10 seed in the state tournament, advancing all the way to the state sectional championship game, the 5th such time in school history. And just like their season, the team never stopped fighting, battling back from a 31-point halftime deficit to cut it to 12 with the ball in the 4th quarter, forcing Trenton Catholic, Thrive Charter, to take the air out of the ball and grind out the win. Truly a remarkable run, and one the entire team should be proud of. The boys and girls swim teams followed suit with magical seasons of their own. The season was filled with excitement, enthusiasm, and the determination to set PRs and set yet even more school records along the way. A big shout out goes to Maria Netrebko, as she was individually crowned county champion in the 100-meter butterfly. Additionally, Michelle Fadiv, Larissa Kavanaugh, Maria Netrebko, Bella Haywood, and Rich Fadiv all qualified for, and not only qualified, but placed in the meet of champions. Rich finished 7th in the state of New Jersey in the 200 IM. Maria took 5th in the 100 butterfly. Our 400 freestyle relay team finished 8th. And finally, the 200 freestyle relay finished 6th in the state. Beyond the individual accomplishments, the teams both made some incredibly deep playoff runs of their own, with the boys reaching the state sectional semifinals and the girls team advancing to the state sectional championship meet at TCNJ, the very first time in school history. And last, but certainly not least, the girls basketball team. After graduating a lot of star power over the last few years, perhaps expectations weren't quite as high from the outsiders and media pundits in regards to this year's team aspirations. Well, all this year's team ended up doing was completing the season championship sweep, taking home a conference championship, a Union County championship, a state sectional championship, and a state championship, ultimately finishing the year being ranked 10th in the entire state by NJ.com. Literally every piece of hardware that this team could win this season, it won. This is the team's second championship sweep in the last 3 years, the team's second state championship in the last 3 years, and the team's third county championship in the last 4 years, something no other program has done in the proud history of this school, ever. Putting a cap on this magical season, the group went on to finish with a record of 30-2, setting the school record for wins in a season in the process. Altogether, I can confidently say that this team will go down in history as one of the best to have ever competed in any sport in New Providence High School history. So I hope by now you're realizing that I'm not just being a homer or seeing the world through Pioneer green glasses. As Coach Carpenter always says, this place is special. Not only special, this place is filled with Pioneer magic. In fact, here are the stats from this winter season. We have 9 competitive teams in the winter, of which 8 finished in the top 4 of their state section. 5 finished in the top 2 in their state section. Add this with the results from the fall, and thus far, this year alone, an astounding 13 of our teams have finished in the top 4 of their state section, with 7 reaching the sectional championships, and 2 having won sectional championships and state championships, with the girls basketball team being crowned county champions. I cannot possibly impress upon you how rare of an accomplishment this is. This type of across-the-board success, especially at a small school like ours, just does not happen. Most schools can only dream of making a run like this in 1, maybe 2 sports, let alone nearly all of them. Take myself and my high school journey, for example. In my entire high school career, I competed in 2 state sectional quarterfinal games, 1 in football and 1 in lacrosse. And I was and still am proud of those 2 teams' runs. So the next time you step into another school's gymnasium, take a long look around their rafters. I can almost guarantee they look nothing like ours. Why? Because they don't have Pioneer magic. So where does that magic come from? It took me a few years to figure that out. Maybe it's the incredible pedigree of our athletes. I mean, I never have seen a place that has so many townies and lifers in it than New Providence. It's amazing to hear from Coach Catano how many people not only he knows, taught, and coached, but he's actually related to in town. Or to hear from Coach Pazdera how many current students' parents he went to school with and played with. I mean, I know he's not here this evening, but Coach Broder is another perfect example. Not only is he living and working in his former high school, just like Coach Paz and Coach Catano and so many others, but he actually came back and bought his childhood home and still lives in it today. That is New Providence. This place is hard to get into. The property values are high, and the taxes are even higher. And there's never too many houses for sale because very few people seem to ever move out. Just ask Joe Everly. So you end up having generations of families all going to school in town and playing sports here. And while that is amazing and incredible, it cannot be the sole reason for all of this success. There has to be something else. So, what about luck? After all, my first thought when I was in high school playing for our rivals was that this wasn't magic at all. It was simply Pioneer luck. Luck, however, is defined as fortune. It is considered a result of pure chance. Luck is random. Sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's bad. Sometimes it seems like it's for you, and other times it's seemingly against you. It's arbitrary. It's happenstance. That is not what I've witnessed over these last 16 years as a Pioneer. When something continually occurs year in and year out, that is not luck. When you see a multitude of teams, both boys and girls, in every season and in virtually every sport experiencing moments like this, it is not luck. It's something much more. So why recount all of these moments and memories? To show that this magic stuff isn't really magic at all. It's real, it's tangible, it's unique and special to this town and its citizens. Not many teams can experience moments like this, but here at New Providence, they're common. Spoiler alert, the magic isn't magic at all. It's a state of mind. It's a culture. It's a belief within each and every individual player, teammate, coach, parent, and fan. It may have started with legends like Coach Patone, Coach Carpenter, and Coach Miller, but it's passed on to the Coach Catanos and Coach Pazderas of the world and on to our other coaches. It's a part of our being in New Providence. This belief that when the chips are down and the odds are seemingly stacked against us, that we can overcome and conquer them. Not only that we can, we will. That is something special. And it's something that most teams, schools, and towns could only dream of having on such a large scale. So what makes this town, its schools, its teams, and its clubs so special and unique? This magic lives in each and every one of you in this room. It's something that you will carry with you for the rest of your life. This confidence and belief and passion is something that is nearly impossible to quantify, but will be a driving force to your success in all walks of life, both in the near and far-off future. Whether it be athletics, school, social, personal, or professional situations, this competitive edge and belief will lead you to success. That is Pioneer Magic. And that is what makes this town so darn special, and why I was personally so determined to become a part of this town and community when my wife and I bought our first home here 10 years ago. I couldn't be more proud to know that my 3 children will get a chance to experience Pioneer Magic. So while it's always bittersweet when a season ends, as no 2 teams are ever quite the same, do not be sad. Be thrilled for the times you've had, the lessons you've learned, the strength you've developed, the best friends you've made, and the magic you've all experienced. Never let that go. Be proud of the person you've become over the course of this season. Be proud of where you come from. You are a pioneer. Thank you, and congratulations again to all of our athletes.